everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I'm going to be doing my top 5 books of this month. These are the 5 books that received 5 stars in the month of October of 2017. I'm going to talk to you guys about all 5 books, and I'm excited to dive in and share with you some very happy books. One of these books I have seen circling the BookTube community. One of these books I have also seen circling the BookTube community, but I saw it while I was gone, and I was really frustrated that I wasn't able to join in the conversation because I read it, and then I was like, everyone is talking about this. Why can I not be a part of this? And then I was like, oh yeah, you can't sit up straight. That's why. It's a good reason. It's a good reason to not be able to sit up, to just not be filming. It's a good reason. It just was so frustrating. All right. So, first book, Red Clocks. These are in no particular order because I couldn't put them in an order if I tried. I'll probably have to in the 2017 favorite books of the year because I think at least 3 of these made it to that list. Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas. This is fantastic. This is the story of, I want to say 5 women that are living in a dystopian era in which it is illegal to get an abortion, and it is also illegal to have artificial insemination because the fetus is now given the rights of a normal human being. So taking away their life by abortion is murder, and in vitro fertilization is illegal because the baby cannot consent to being conceived. Bear with me, it's complicated. So we follow Ro, who is a single woman who works in a high school and is trying to become pregnant, and she is fighting with the doctor for artificial insemination, and she is having trouble conceiving, and she potentially has, I think it's POC, is that what it's called? Pelvic Cystic Ovarian Syndrome. PCO? Yeah, PCO. So pelvic cystic ovarian syndrome. It is a really scary thing to potentially have, which is making it really difficult for her to conceive. And so she goes to Jin. Jin is a I'm sorry, it's complicated. Jin is a homeopathic woman that lives in the woods of Oregon, and she starts to talk to her about ways to conceive that are more holistic. And Jin tells her different ways that she can conceive and make her body more ready to conceive, because Ro is trying to conceive on her own and be a mother that is single. Then there is Susan, who is a friend of Ro's, who is a mother of 2 and in a really unhappy marriage, and she is trying to figure out what to do and whether to ask for a separation, but she's always constantly trying to figure out a way to ask her husband to go into therapy, and he has no interest in doing that, and so she is constantly at odds and trying to explain to Ro that it's going to be really hard to be a mother that's single, but Ro isn't hearing it. And then there is Maddie, and Maddie is one of Ro's students who has found herself pregnant, and she is trying to figure out what to do with this pregnancy. In the beginning of the book, she is in serious denial that she is even possibly pregnant because of how seriously screwed up her sexual experience was with the man that she is now pregnant with his child. It's really well done. It's fantastically executed. I absolutely adored it. I think that everyone should read this. It is comparable to The Handmaid's Tale. I think it's better than The Power. Way better than The Power. And I think that if you enjoyed The Power, you will like this. If you enjoyed Handmaid's Tale, you will like this. This solves the Handmaid's Tale dilemma I've been having, where I've been just jonesing for a new story that is similar to it. This solves that problem. It's fantastic. Then we have Her Body and Other Parties by Cameron Mario Machado, and I Oh, I am in love with this short story collection. In love with this short story collection. I am obsessed. It is fantastic. It is dark. It talks about consent and feminism and female bodies and the experience of the female in today's society and the experience of consent in today's society and the experience of love and what that looks like and what it looks like when consent is not given even there is love. And it is really dark and twisted, and it has the best short story I have ever read in my life, which is, what is it called? The very first short story, and it is called The Husband's Stitch, which is based upon a folklore, which I will not tell you because if you know the folklore, it will ruin the surprise, and it is such a great story that you need to go in and read it. It is brilliant. It is breathtaking. I absolutely adored it. If you haven't picked this up, pick it up. I think it is one of the best short story collections printed this year. The other one is The Doll's Alphabet, and you know how I feel about that, so I'm really conflicted about the two of them. I'm really struggling with which one I like better, and I'm gonna have to rate them, and it's gonna be really difficult. Next, we have The Unseen World, and this is by Liz Moore. This has made the rounds on BookTube, and it is loved by everyone. Everyone adores it. I adored it just as much. This talks about Ada, a young girl who is raised by her father as a single father, and he begins to have trouble remembering, and he ends up in I want to say Alzheimer's or dementia. I think that's the best way to explain it. And he is suffering from this, and Ada doesn't understand what's going on because he won't tell her anything that is going on. All that he gives her for information is he hands her a floppy disk and said that this is the next thing that she has to figure out for school, but she still has other schoolwork to do. This is what she's going to do on the side as a project. So he ends up disappearing, and she ends up staying with a close family friend and trying to really figure out what this floppy disk is saying. It is really well done. It is super well executed. I absolutely adored it. I highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up on Mercedes' recommendation. I really think it's fantastic, and I think it is one of those stories that I will not soon forget. I loved Ada as a character, and I absolutely say that she is one of my favorite characters I've read this year. Then we have this. This is like, I just want to hug this and give it to every person I have ever met. This is the Glasstown Games. This is the Glasstown Game by Catherynne and Valenti. I sat up and started reading this at around 6 o'clock one evening, and I didn't stop reading until around 4 a.m. the next day. I fell in love with this. The worlds, the experience, all four of the Bronte siblings, each one of them having their own personalities and going to this wonderful magical place. It was great. It was so perfect. It was so amazing. I absolutely adored it. And I definitely plan to pick up The Girl Who Circumvented Fairyland again, just because I can't help but miss the worlds that Catherynne Valenti has created. I really adored it. I think it's fantastic, and it's one of my favorite books of the year. This is brilliant. I think it is for everybody, all ages, but oh my goodness, if you have a young reader who loves a good fantasy and who loves to really dive into a good world, and you want them to be as, and you want them to be introduced to the Brontes, this is so fantastic. I think this is a great book to give a young girl or boy before you hand them Jane Eyre and let them read this. Like, this is fantastic. Fantastic. Then we have a nonfiction that I read, and I adored this. This is Lore, Monsters and Creatures, The World of Lore by Erin Mackey. This is fantastic. I adored this. I can't stop saying that, but I did. Oh my goodness. It was so fantastic. It breaks down all the mythology. It talks about all the folklore. It goes through different stories and all the history. It talks about different monsters one at a time and gives all the folklore of that monster all together. It talks about vampires. It talks about the dead. It talks about monsters in general. It's just fantastic. I'm all flustered because I can't put into words how much I adored this. I wanted to put it off till Nonfiction November, but then I got into the situation where I was just like in bed all the time, and I was like, I'm gonna read this now because I can, and I so don't regret it. It was fabulous, and I read it in 2 sittings. I highly recommend it. I think it is fantastic. If you have not heard of the Lore podcast, can I link it down below? Is that a thing? Can you link a podcast? I don't know. I will find out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out a way to get you guys to this. But the Lore podcast is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I highly recommend it. This, if you like how lore is directed and narrated, is in the exact same style. So it is really well executed and super fun to read. I highly recommend it. I might read it again this month because it's Nonfiction November, and it wouldn't be against the rules, and it wouldn't count towards my books though, because I've already read it. But I really want to read it again already, like now, because it was so fantastic. All right, guys, that has been my top 5 books for October 2017. Tell me if you liked how I did this, because I might end up doing that where I do, instead of doing 2 different wrap-ups, as in a part 1 and a part 2, I'll do a full wrap-up and then a top 5 books, and we'll see how that goes. Tell me if you like that way. Tell me in the comments below. I don't know. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, click that subscribe button and join the Chaotic Little Book Corner family. I will see you guys in my next video, and I will talk to you then.